Hello everyone, welcome back to the Smeef Show. This is episode 25. 25, yeah. It's been a long way. I had you on episode what was it? Episode 11? 13, I think. But I'm with Rav. I'm with my boy Rav.
Hey, well, what's going on?
What is going on?
What's going on? What's happening?
You tell me what's going on.
Where am I?
Where are you? I don't know where you are. Where do you actually stay, by the way? I stay in Canada, Manitoba. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? Damn, sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that. Wow.
I'm not about to snitch on myself, but no, all kidding aside, I kind of move around a lot.
That's fair.
But I'm usually in London, UK. So
you live in London? I thought you lived in the US.
No, I don't. I do have family there though, so.
I always thought you and Bill lived in LA down
South
that
Carolina?
way.
Oh no.
I know Bill lives down that way.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've lived with Bill for a few months in South Carolina in the past. We've been to LA many times, and there was that one time where we lived there for a month or so, more than a month.
Oh, that's together. When you guys recorded Ramona or something, right?
We did Ramona in South Carolina. We did Solar Flare in LA, and and now I mean the record. By the time this comes out, we did Skin in Texas.
Skin. So. We need to talk about Skin. Yeah, it's the 22nd right now, and a week ago. By the way, we tried to record this 3 times. 3 times. Each thing was lasting 15 minutes, and then my recording fucked up because I'm a fucking idiot, and it happens. It happens.
It happens. It wasn't meant to be. I suppose.
That day it wasn't meant to be, but today's the day. Just today's the day.
It's happening. It's happening. Here we are.
But Skin, man, you sent me that a week ago, and I was so impressed.
Thank you, man.
It's on par, but not even on par. It's even better than some of your other projects like that, just because you guys have more experience and stuff like that, and it makes me so happy. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was a fun. I mean, we talked about it last time, but it was a really fun record to be a part of because we didn't go into the process of recording it thinking oh, we're gonna make an album or we're gonna make a project. We were just all the 3 of us. We did the Oasis show in Texas, which sold out, and it was great. It was all water themed. We had people crowd surfing and kiddie pools filled with fucking I don't know, fucking all sorts of swimming pool toys and shit. It was really fun. We had, as I said, a sold out show, 350 people or something like that.
Yeah.
It was great. And then the day after, the night afterwards, we were all oh, let's make a song. And we were still staying at the Airbnb in Austin. And there was this one room downstairs that just wasn't used for anything. A couple of rooms, actually. So we grabbed a bunch of the mattresses that were downstairs and turned one of the rooms into a studio. Went ahead and recorded Worth, which is the first song off of Skin. And it was so natural and fun. It was just because we wanted to do something. It was our first time recording together, all 3 of us in person.
That's crazy. So, that was the first time you met Scar, right? Square?
Square. Yeah, it's the first time I met him in person. I mean, I've been working with him for almost a decade, but it was the first time where the 3 of us got to share the stage all together and then record all together. And then we kind of went our separate ways, and then I invited both Bill and Square to come and kick it with me at my mom's crib in Texas. It's near Houston.
my mom's crib.
Yeah,
I love your guys' fucking vernacular. It's so funny to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love it. I don't know. I wouldn't say I would just say my mom's house or the home. But
my
you guys
mother's house.
My mother's house. I'm that formal and stuff like that. I don't know. My dad always taught me to be like that, but hearing someone just say their mom's crib, I was never raised like that, and I'd never had that sort of verbal vernacular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so weird, but it's nice.
Well, thank you. I mean, basically they came through, and we had just a whole lot of shit to take care of, and it's a lot of it is still behind the scenes at the moment because it's yet to come out or be completed, but one of the things we did was do the video for the New Moon
Oh
vinyls,
yeah,
because we
I seen that.
released the New Moon vinyls, and so we did that. We recorded a whole lot of other shit that's yet to come out because it hasn't been edited yet. It's not time yet. So we just had like a list of bullet points to go through, and in between time when we had some downtime, we would like play Neo Turf Wars, which is like the most fun golf game.
What is Neo
um
Turf Wars?
it's like this it's a old school like Neo Geo golf game, and it's like super fun. It's in my opinion one of the best golf games of all time. So we played that. We'd play Street Fighter. We played Mario Party, Mario Kart, and sometimes like one of us would be playing like be playing the other like a Mario Kart or Street Fighter. Then one of us would turn on a beat and start writing, and then the others would sort of join in, and we'd write, and we'd like bounce ideas off of one another, and then go in and record because we had like a little studio set up.
Like a little makeshift
And
studio?
yeah,
I've seen you
we've
guys.
always liked having makeshift studios.
You've posted it on Twitter, like a little like snippet of like you guys outside of the door, and who was rapping inside? I think it was Bill, right? Or was it
No, Square
Square?
was rapping. Yeah, Bill and I were just chilling. But yeah, that's right. So that was like we turned a wardrobe into a makeshift studio. That's kind of like a go-to. Back when we did Solar Flare, there was like this one wardrobe at Matt's house that we sort of turned into a studio. We like, put up clothing, like we hung up clothing all around to cover all the walls. We put a body pillow in the corner of the room to collect the lower bass tones. We stuck diapers to the door to dampen the sound.
Diapers?
We had to make do with what we had, and like Matt
Diapers.
bought us a whole lot of beer and diapers, and so we're like, let's put these bad boys to use, and so we did that, and it actually turned out really good. And that's why like Solar Flare was also so easy to record. I mean, half of it we recorded in different like Airbnb RVs that we were sort of jumping between, and then the rest of it was there. Oh, and yeah, I'd say for the most part that's how we did it. And whereas with the Texas thing, outside of that one Austin recording, the first song, everything else was more or less recorded in my mom's crib in that makeshift studio. And yeah, that
You
shit was fun. It was really easy. We didn't think like, oh, we're doing something like this is going to be for a record, as I said, right? We were just kind of having fun on the side. And then when we were done, when it was all said and done and we finished everything and we went our separate ways, I came back to London and I was like, guys, like we have enough for a record. And not only do we have enough for a record, it's so like concise, because all
like
the
it
subject, like
tells a
each
story.
song.
It tells like a
Well,
little story.
well, it's because basically each song is like tackles a perspective on our lives, um, like an observation that is like a current observation. Because all of our music has always been it was always been personal,
Yeah, of
and
course.
we've been making music for so long. Our perspective changes as we mature. So does like our perspective on things. And so we sort of reached a point, I think, of maybe self-awareness that we didn't have before. Not to say that we've peaked in any way. I'm sure my perspective, my opinions and everything will change 5-10 years from now again. But it was sort of there was a lot there's a lot we wanted to say, and each song sort of tackles a different point. So,
A different point in your
whether
lives, maybe.
well, more so, I would say like a different subject matter pertaining to self worth, or self reflection. Like belong is about a sense of belonging, not necessarily even a physical space, but more like a sense of just belonging. Like, do you feel like um
Speaking of that
you
track, man, like that track is one of my favorites on the record, man. Like
thank you, man.
that whole joint is amazing, but "Belong" has got to be like one of the top 10, like like um like tracks on that album. Not top 10. How many songs do you have? I haven't listened to it in a week
There,
because you
there's
guys.
there's like I think there's 7 joints on it. So if you say it's top 10, like thank you. Yeah, for sure. I would
It's top.
agree that
It's top 10. It's top 10.
Some would say even top 7. Yeah.
Some would say top 7, but speaking
Definitely
of
top 10. Yeah.
definitely top 10. I don't know what 10 is, but you know what I mean. But
It's
speaking of
go ahead,
belong, I
sorry.
kind of want to like, could I play like that like track, like a snip of that track on the podcast right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Of course.
Sweet. Okay, well, I'm gonna play it now. So if you guys are listening right now, this is not exclusive because it pretty much came out today, but just take a listen.
Look, I'm not Jordan, I'm no Pippen, I'm like Rodman on the Pistons. I doubt that I'll make a difference. All I want is some attention. You don't listen, I don't question. I'm not here to teach a lesson. I'm not ever here at all. You hear a beep, you leave a message. Fuck a topic, interesting shit I thought make you upset. Then you can jump right off a ledge, cause I'm not fucking with your presence. I'm encompassing the present while I point in no direction. Been annoyed by every dot being deployed. Am I prevented? I can't pretend it's fun, feeling fine. I've never seen the fucking sun. How come I want to get shot? I know how seasons define. They sprout some leaves and then die, but I don't believe it this time. I'm undefeated inside. My heart was way like some muscle milk jaded. The love was tough to kill. I waited through the dinner rush, ran up the bill, got nothing still. I guess I'm not what I'm fed. I heard a lot that's not said. Those thoughts get lodged in my head. They don't belong.
Sometimes I feel like I don't belong in my head. I need somewhere to go in my stead. I need somewhere to go once they've left. I need something to offer myself. Sometimes I don't belong in my head. I need somewhere to go in my stead. I need somewhere to go once they've left. Something to hold on to other than myself.
Tricks to rise when they get sparkled the first time.
Wow, that shit was trash.
You said that in the other recording too. We literally recorded 3 times and he repeated himself. Yeah.
Because it is trash. No, but all jokes aside, yeah. So that's like a song. I mean, I don't like spelling everything out, but let's just say that song pertains to like the subject matter of belonging. And then the song like "Breathing Underwater for Dummies" is, we tackle the subject matter of feeling like downers around other people. We feel like we suck the oxygen out of the room sometimes, or like feeling that the third wheel in every situation, social situation. And songs like "Down.exe," it's about like having those ups and downs, like unpredictable ups and downs, and just kind of getting exhausted by that. And so like a lot of this album ended up just like a lot of these songs we were recording were just like, I think, very at a stage in our life where we were just doing a whole lot of self-reflection in general
and finding yourself, of course.
And so it's just the subject matters that we just kind of naturally went towards. And so when I came back, we out of all the songs we recorded, we only ended up not including one of the ones we did because thematically it didn't fit in. But everything else, as I said, like as a subject matter, was like, it doesn't tell a story necessarily. It doesn't flow necessarily, from one point to another in a way that like, like a really cohesive, story-driven project would. But it is cohesive in its theme and ethos. So yeah. So but basically, it was fun. It was natural. I think that's what's most fun about it, is that it was organic, and we unintentionally just sort of stumbled upon an album. And yeah, super psyched that it's finally coming out. By the time this obviously podcast comes out, it's already come out. I don't know what the reactions.
I don't know either, but it's. I'm going to say that it's going to be phenomenal. I believe in you guys because it's a fucking astonishing album.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate that.
Okay, I need to ask you something. Are your parents supportive of what you do? Because like I've heard like lyrics and stuff like that, and like in your what was it? Was it not Solene? I think it was one of those tracks on Beneath the Toxic Jungle. But like, are they supportive of what you do?
Yeah, they are. I mean, they didn't really know until somewhat recently. I mean, they always knew I did rap. Like I've been rapping since I was like really, really young. They never took interest in sort of knowing what I did. They just knew I've always like I came up loving hip hop.
And how you and Bill like met was through like Newgrounds, like the audio sharing on Newgrounds, right? That's
Yeah, exactly.
I've learned that like recently too.
Oh yeah, so but that's so they didn't really like they didn't know how big just big like how big of a part it's played in my life, I think, until quite recently because last year in spring I quit my office job, which I was holding a really really good position in. I climbed, the ladder at the company I was at, and I had sort of a bright future in that regard ahead of me, and it's not what I wanted to do. And I got to a point in my musical career where I was making uh like a very stable income off of music,
And
to
it's
a
something
point
what you love
where
to do.
I mean, I've always loved to do it. I never strived to make it into a career because I was just naturally always doing it because it's something that I love. I never thought to myself like, "Oh man, I want to be like a full-time rapper," or any of those things. I don't think I ever really thought about that because I didn't want to set myself up for failure, getting my hopes up. So I just always made music and did everything else in my life. I lived with my fiance. I've lived with her for
You have a
5 years.
You told me that last time. I was wondering that. You have a fiance, you sly dog.
Yeah, and we've lived together for 5 years, so I used to
That's
balance, my
crazy.
personal life, working life, and trying to do music and, trying to do all this extra shit that I was doing. And then it just got to a point where the music was making like a really good income to a point where I could, say goodbye to my office job
I could
and
never
know
see you
that
doing an office job. Like seriously.
I was really good at it. Like I'm a really like hardworking, strict person. I was really strict. I was a strict boss. Um, but I got the job done. But ultimately, it didn't make me happy. It didn't fulfill me. It wasn't me. And I was sitting on the idea of quitting my job for a while. I got to a point where the music was like the income from my music was covering all my bills and everything. And I was like, okay, but should I quit my job though? Is it like it's still, it took me some convincing. Bill quit his job last year in like February, and I
He was
quit
a
mine.
waiter, right?
Yes, so he was a waiter. So for him, it was kind of a no brainer. His shit was really like soul sucking, and he got to a point in his career where he could afford to quit his job, and he quit his job. I think about 4 months before I quit mine, and so I think having that back and forth with him and my girl, they sort of convinced me to take the leap and quit my job. And it was the best decision of last year,
I'm even
hands
glad you
down.
did because like seriously, you have so much potential to succeed in the future. Like beyond all this stuff too. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate it. To me, it was more so just like finally I can, sort of divide my time up between like my personal life and music in a way that was healthier. Because prior to that, it was just really hard to find time to make music or to find time for personal life that was a healthy personal life and everything. And so cutting the job out of it, which was like I worked 40-45 hours a week, and just to get to work, that was like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then 2 hours back, so that's 4 hours in transit per day. On average, I was losing like at least 60 hours per week. um
I'm surprised you
Sorry, at
didn't like
least.
record on the transit.
Yeah, right. So I used to write on the transit and stuff like that, but it was so exhausting, and the work was very demanding, and I did so much overtime. And so when I finally, so quitting the job, it felt really scary because I think I was already just, I was convinced that if I'm not having a nightmare of a life, if I'm not having a nightmare of a life, then I'm doing something wrong. Like I need to be working constantly nonstop to the point where I'm just almost running out of juice. And And so when I came out of that, it was refreshing. Bill and I went to LA for a month. We did Exomania. We recorded Solar Flare. We did so much that some of the stuff that still hasn't come out. We it was such a like wonderful experience by contrast. And then coming back to London, I think that's when we started doing Chibi Chubby. Like, we rebranded and we started doing daily content and all of that. And at some point, I realized that I just substituted my previous job with like a new thing where I had to work every day nonstop. And so that's why we're taking a bit of a hiatus, because we're just going to hire a full-time editor to take care of that,
Oh,
because
I hire editors too. Like they work on my actual like video essay stuff, and it's really a time saver. It's awesome.
oh, for sure, yeah. And I just want to make sure that, when I hire a full-time editor, I mean, we already went through the interview process and we've selected a person. It's just a matter of now making sure that we can fund it and that we can put together a
Stably give them a
schedule.
stable income.
Yeah, because it's daily content. It's daily content.
People
were
think,
making a
like-
video per day.
Yeah, people think like YouTube is all fun and games, but when you get down to it, it is fun and games, but you still have to treat it like it's a professional job if you want to get somewhere, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like for us, we went into it knowing that for us, hip hop is the most important thing.
Yeah,
the
of course.
The YouTube thing to us, we were fortunate enough that we have the music thing. YouTube thing was, let's do this for fun on the side, right? Because Bill and I enjoy talking, chilling with one another, playing games together. So this was an excuse to do that more often, right? But me being kind of like the perfectionist that I am, I wanted to make sure that, our audio quality was on point, but we're recording, thousands of miles apart. So we had to make sure that we handled all the technical difficulties that came with doing that, and then making sure that our branding was reflective of what we wanted to achieve. Doing the thumbnail art, I've done most of the thumbnail art, and like 90% of the thumbnail art. I edited almost every single Let's Play video. I've edited quite a lot of the podcasts,
And
Bill
even the
edits
like the
most of them.
podcast, you put so much effort into that, because I watch a few episodes like from time to time whenever I'm like doing chores or editing and stuff like that. You like do little like animation things in like the in between just for context of what like the screen is, like what you're talking about, and that's like beyond the effort that I would do.
Well, that's the thing. It got to a point where it was too much, because when we transitioned to daily content, that's when we rebranded. That's when
From We Don't Suck to Chibi Chubby.
Yeah, I mean the podcast is still We Don't Suck, but I spoke with Don, and I was like, hey Don, we're gonna go with the new branding, because we want to have like our own sort of separate direction. I'm gonna go with someone else. Don was super understanding of that. He was cool, and around the same time he helped do the cover for Vestiges and stuff. So
You
I'm
have
still
a
on really
Sharky now,
good
right?
terms with him.
Sharky?
Sharky, yeah, because Sharky was like, I think he had a really good understanding of what we were trying to do, and then I started building a really good relationship with him, and he got the branding just right. We kind of came up on a lot of that kind of like Toonami type of
I love the way he drew
stuff.
Bill.
Yeah, it's super dope. So it came out so nice, and I made sure that the intro and all our outros and everything were reflective of the kind of people that we are, the kind of stuff we would have loved to see. We make our content catered to us, rather than how a lot of people would cater sort of to a general audience, to
Yeah.
children.
I do a bit
or-
of both, you know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Exactly. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just that for us, because we didn't depend on it, or we weren't necessarily like, okay, we want to be YouTubers, right? Because we're happy with being rappers. This is like a supplementary thing. So to us, we were fortunate enough where we could just be like, okay, what do we want out of this, right? What would be the coolest thing for us? And so we went into it with that mentality. But I almost burned out. Like, it was Christmas, I was still editing videos and doing this, that, and the third. And I usually come up with like a lot of the concepts and stuff like that, because I'm a bit of a control freak, and sort of trying to do that with all the music stuff that we do, and me trying to run my collective X Society. And
you have like two brands, like Chibi Chubby and X.
we have Chibi Chubby, we have X Society, and we have like a separate brand that I'm working on for something else. And so I'm constantly inspired and like creatively engaged, but you have to know your limit, and you have to like let go and learn how to delegate. And
Yeah.
so I'm still learning, and that's why we're gonna get the the editor, and Bill. That's why, like, initially when we started doing the podcast, I was editing everything, but then Bill started helping out with a lot, and that's been like that's been so helpful, man. Like, so learning that, like, okay, I can trust, finding out who I can trust creatively, and then just like letting them do their thing and be a part of it. And Sharky is another example who, like, oftentimes will be like, hey, I can help with the thumbnail, and if it were up to me, I wish I could just like pay all my friends to help me out, because I don't want people to do shit for free.
Of course, that's
But
how
when
I
it
feel.
comes to exactly, right? But when it comes to daily content, you have to think like, okay, so that's like 30 videos per month on average. That's a lot. And so, like, even if they're all like, let's say, just 10 minutes long, if someone's editing the videos, that's like 5 hours of video that they have to edit, and that's probably from uh 8 hours of footage that they have to cut down to five. And making sure that they're having fun with it. And so it's been a challenge. That's why we took the 2 month or so hiatus, and
You
we're
guys are coming
planning
back
to get
though,
back
right?
into it. Absolutely, because we
That's
miss it.
awesome.
We miss it so much. Like, I followed this Twitter account called Chibi Chubby Quotes.
Oh, I
And
see that. That's so funny.
it's so funny, and every time I see it, like,
It makes you want to
it
like. It just makes you want to do more. You know what I mean?
right, absolutely, because ultimately what Chibi Chubby ended up becoming for us, we don't think like it's a viable necessarily, like,
Like source of income
business
or like
venture.
yeah.
Yeah, like
It's
it'll make money, but it's not something where it's like, oh yeah, this is like, we're gonna put all our eggs in one basket here. But what it has become for us, well, first of all, I definitely, we have like a phenomenal community that is like super engaged. The community
course.
that we do have is like really into it, and they get it, and that's like that's super cool to us, because we didn't think anyone would really get what we were doing, because a lot of it just comes from such a, like, a personal place of just like inside jokes. But it's become sort of like a time capsule for us, because I can go back to Let's Play videos from over half a year ago, or podcasts from over a year ago. I'll listen to them, and it's like, oh my God, this is funny, or like, this is so great. Oh, I remember this. I laughed till I cried at that point.
I
And
feel that's how I feel too. People think like watching your own videos from back in the day is egotistical, but it's really not. It's just like reminiscing of old times and like just making yourself laugh. Like hell, I even laugh at my
yeah,
own jokes too. I listen back because I forget a lot of it. Then I come back and it's like super fucking funny. Like people just don't know.
yeah.
And you know what else I hate about like YouTube shit? People make up excuses and quit so easily. That's what I respect about you too. You have the drive of a fucking like insane person. Like you are so like talented and driven. Hell, like people make
Oh
up
wow, thank you.
excuses. Like you said the transit stuff. Like you were working like fucking not humiliating, but beyond like hours of the day, and like the train ride back was like fucking awful and putrid, but you still did shit. People like get like make excuses for everything, but meanwhile, like I'll give you an example. You know how I do this
Mhm,
podcast, right? You want
mhm.
to know how long it takes me to upload one episode?
How long?
14 hours.
Is it the rendering and exporting, or is
Yes,
it just the upload?
it's the rendering. No, it's just the uploading, just the uploading.
Okay, okay. Oof.
It's crazy. But you know, I still do it. You know why? Cuz I fucking love it. And it makes people happy and they laugh at it. And I laugh at it too, seeing the community like thing. Like people make up excuses for the littlest shit, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, other people have like beyond difficulty trying to do this stuff, but they still do it
I do,
because they want
I
to be
think
it.
everybody has their different thresholds at the same time. I appreciate what you're saying, and I do think there is something to, sort of sticking with a goal, and trying to make it into a reality, even when the going gets tough. But I do think different people have different thresholds and circumstances. I'm fortunate enough where I can afford to do daily content, but when I had a full-time job, we did weekly podcasts. Um, that was a challenge already, right? We went into it like, let's do that, and then imagine trying to pitch to Bill like, hey, how about we do daily content? That sounded like, oh, that's crazy. We're in over our heads.
Was Bill like
When we
like into it though?
he was into the idea for sure, but he was just like, man, you're going to be overwhelmed, because he knew that I was going to be pretty much doing everything. We'll play games together, and Bill always has like a very significant creative input into everything that we do, but I really was adamant about editing everything. I have more editing experience, I guess, or knowledge than Bill does, and I just wanted to be really hands on with Chibi Chubby, and so that was my decision. But he was worried that I'd burn out, and he was right. I got really close to burning out, but it was fun, and now we're just thinking of like, okay, how can we make it work without it becoming an unhealthy endeavor? And so that's what we're trying to work out now. But you know, daily content. I don't know why I decided to do that. I think it's just like I enjoy a challenge, and it does create for more material for me in the future. But I think regardless of who you are, you need to do something that makes you happy. So if making other people happy or laugh makes you happy, then that's good for you. For me, there are many drives. I think everybody has like a variety of things that sort of drive
Everybody's
them. But for
different.
me,
Yeah.
yeah, and for me, my biggest drive is just like, oh, this is kind of for me. Like I was doing chores a couple of weeks ago, just around the house, like just cleaning shit up, getting all like paperwork in order and everything. And so I put on um Chibi Chubby episode, like We Don't Suck episode that we did a few months ago, like one of the more recent ones. The I think it was called Bill Joins the X-Men, and the whole like and the whole concept of it was a really stupid. It was another one of the role play ones that we did, which we improvise everything we
Like
do,
that
right?
D&D
And
one that you did.
yeah, that's also completely all just pulled out my ass and Bill's ass as we go along. But that one was basically, the concept was like Bill has a superpower, or so he thinks, where like if he strains really really hard and gives it his all, he can secrete a single droplet of salt water from the tip of his index finger. But it takes him 10 minutes to procure a single drop. He can do it twice a day, so 20 minutes in total. But after he does it a second time the same day, he will pass out for at least half an hour, right?
That sounds like a really shitty superpower.
Shitty superpower. And so the whole premise is he goes to Professor Xavier. He goes to his institution or academy for mutants, right? And he's giving him the pitch for why he should be accepted as a student. He's trying to convince him he's a mutant who should join the ranks of the other X-Men, and he is convinced that he is going to be a very valuable asset to the mutants in the war between mutants and humans, should that ever happen or come to be, right? And so the whole episode is based off of that single dumb premise. It's just Bill talking to me as Professor Xavier. I'm Professor Xavier in this setting. He's Bill. He's trying to convince me that he belongs. And that's the whole episode. And I cried.
Fuck?
I was cleaning, like I was washing the dishes. I was doing shit. And I started crying because it was so funny. And like, it's just because I love Bill's reactions to things and everything. I mean, that's why we did the podcast in the first place. I love interacting with him. And it made me realize just how much I miss doing the We Don't Suck and Chibi Chubby stuff in general.
You guys
So
gotta
I can't
come
wait for
back
us to
soon.
get back into it.
You gotta come
Oh,
back
yeah,
soon.
absolutely. We're already putting we're already taking the necessary steps to make a return for sure. I can't wait.
That's good. Well, we're at the end of the episode. This. You know what? I'm surprised this went super well, and I'm super fucking relieved by it because I thought it was gonna fuck up again.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad everything went smoothly. Yeah, thank God. And it was fun. Sorry
I had
if
high hopes.
I rambled for so long.
No, I fucking love that. I love that, honestly. It gives me less work to talk.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
But as always, I'm Smeef, and I'll see you later. Oh, wait, is there anything you want to plug? No, fucking skins, of course, but our skins.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd like to plug. Make sure you follow AiroSpace on Twitter. Make sure you follow Square on Twitter. Make sure you follow Ashido Brown on Twitter. If you don't know what their ads are, just go at Exosociety HQ, I think.
I'll put it in the description.
Thank you. And then all in the in the bio of that Twitter channel, it should have every EXO member's individual at, and yeah. So and follow at Rekcadam as well. So those four guys are incredibly slept on, and I just like to plug the fact that they are incredibly talented. Don't sleep.
Oh, one more thing. You did a
What's that?
feature recently that I fucking loved. It was on Raw Dogs Go to Heaven. And who is it made by?
Shaka D Cakes. Yeah,
That was
Thank
fucking.
you.
That was your verse was like top notch. I was gonna forget about that, but god
Oh,
damn.
thank you, man. Yeah, shout outs to Shaka too. He's such an incredibly talented dude. It was an honor that he had me hop on the song with him. Absolutely.
He seems like a really nice guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Much love and respect. Super talented dude.
But yeah, as always,
absolutely.
I'm Smeef, and I'll see you later. Goodbye, babies.